What is good, homies? This is Chris from the Small Hat Crew, joined today by Small Hat Chat, Small Hat Homies, and we are reviewing the limb support today. We have got our brand new leader. She dropped like, I don't know how many weeks ago. Probably wasn't even that long ago, right? It's probably like 2 or 3 weeks. I never reviewed her though, because her leader ability reads as it's either insanely good or it's insanely bad, and there's no in between, and the only way to know is to see what her cards do. And I'm pretty sure, I think we have all of her cards at this point. So we'll go ahead and start with our leader. We have green purple leader, 4 life, 5,000 power, wisdom, Odyssey. Your characters enter play as rested. Activate main once per turn. You may rest 3 of your Dawn. Set up to 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck as rested. Then play a cost 5 or lower Odyssey type character from your hand. Tell me what you guys think first, and then I'll weigh in after the fact. You start with 1 Dawn. Turn 2, you're on 3 Dawn. You cheat out a character. Now you're on 4 Dawn. Your opponent takes their turn. If your character survives, on turn 3, if you hit a 3 cost or lower, you could maybe resolve one of your characters. If your opponent just loaded up leader with 4 Dawn and swung 9 at your guy just to take it off board, which I think is honestly, in this matchup, it probably wouldn't even be worth it. Because if you take the character off board, they're behind an entire turn. Oh my god, this leader does not seem that great. It really doesn't. It doesn't seem that great. That seems kind of like... That seems... Early game is rough on limb, but potentially with 8-drop kid, it can save the whole enters play rested. That's true. I really hate that about the green identity, though. Bro, it seems like every single green deck ends up falling back on hide behind 8-drop kid. It's why I just don't like green as a color. I'm not big on that. But I guess as we read more of her cards, we'll see if she gets any better. All right, so next we have a 2-cost character. We have a blocker. End of your turn, if you have 2 or more Odyssey type rested characters, set this character as active. So it's just a blocker. It's just a blocker, and she needs a condition to even act as a blocker. And it costs 2. That's so, you would think it'd at least be 1. That's so ass. That's so bad. Lim looks really strong right now, but she's also the only leader to have all her support already. Yeah, because that's what I say. I don't think she's gonna have purple support. I'd be surprised if she did, because they literally dedicated nearly 20 cards to her already just in green. And remember, purple literally has 2 leaders. It has Robin and it has Luffy. There's 2 leaders that purple has to try to make up for. I don't think you could dedicate more than 18 cards to Lim. I think the leader is fine, but she ramps to do nothing for her turn, but she has some cards that make that fine. Because let me say, here's how I'm looking at it, right? So obviously turn 1, you don't do anything, but that's not bad because no leader really does anything on turn 1. Turn 2, you can leader ability. It comes out tapped. If your opponent loads up 9 and kills it, you're either dropping 2 2Ks to save it, or it's dying and now you're behind an entire turn. Turn 3, if you see a 3 cost or lower, you can play it, and then you can leader ability for one of the guys that has a 2 cost condition, and then you can start resolving effects. And I guess we'll have to see what you can even resolve at this point in the game. Because like if you play like a Sanji or whatever, if you like say you cheated out Sanji first turn, it does nothing if the opponent kills it at that point because there's nothing in trash. Can't use Hody, yeah. Can't use Kid, activate main ability. Can't use 8-cost Rosinante, yeah, with all 5-cost characters. Yeah, like you can't even use 8-drop Rosinante to cheat out a 5-cost green character and then protect it because he only protects active characters. Yeah, we'll move on to our next character. I don't think this is a good card. Maybe you'll play it just as a name, but I don't think this is a good card. Adio, 4 cost, 5,000 power, Odyssey. We have a 2K. We have our first 2K. If you have 2 or more Odyssey type rested characters, this character gains 1,000 power. So it is static. It is both turns. It's a 2K. It's a 2K. I guess regardless, it's a 2K. You'd play it anyway. But even if you were to put it on the board, if you do meet the condition, you have a 6K character. So it's a vanilla, basically, a vanilla 2K. It's decent. Her keyword should be Odyssey characters come out rested. It should have been. It really should have been. I agree, Leaf. This is a 2K, so we'll just move on. 2Ks are going to see play regardless. We have Monkey D. Luffy, green character, 5 cost, 6,000 power strike. Odyssey, Supernova, Straw Hat Crew. On play, so this is law support potentially. On play, if you have 2 or more rested... Okay, it's not law support. Rested characters, choose up to 1 of your opponent's cost 6 or lower characters, or up to 1 of your opponent's Dawn and rest it. This is one of the better cards for Lim, I guess. So far from what we've seen, you wouldn't want to cheat this out on turn 1 because it'd have no effect. It's literally, she has a blocker she can't even play on turn 2. There's one character you wouldn't cheat out on turn 2. This is another character you wouldn't cheat out on turn 2 because it's your 2K. So far, there hasn't been a single character you would want to cheat out on turn 2 with her leader ability when you ramp. So if you were to cheat this out on turn 2, your opponent, like, resting the Dawn does what? So that does nothing. And then you can potentially rest one of your opponent's characters, but you've used all your Dawn for the turn anyway, so the most you can do is swing 5k. So it doesn't matter, you just go face. The opponent probably takes, because they take anyway. All opponents like to take the first life by default. So this literally does nothing. This does nothing till way later in the game if you have the condition set up. I'm not a fan of this. Adio, 9 cost, 9,000 power, special, Odyssey. On play, if your leader has the Odyssey type set up to 3 of your Dawn is active. When opponents attacking once per turn, you may rest 1 Dawn. Up to 1 of your leader or characters gains power 2,000 for the battle. This is the first card from her I've seen that I like so far. This card's good. This is a good card. Literally, so he basically says he just gives you a free 2k every turn. And then he also opens up Dawn for, he opens up Dawn for a counter event, assuming you're playing them. Maybe you would play them, right? Because I guess you could run stuff like, what's the Donquixote card? Spider's Web? Because your guys come out rested, you could use Spider's Web to like protect them from battle and then restand them so they make it to next turn. So it's probably not terrible. Maybe you do run, maybe there is an argument to run a card like Spider's Web in this deck. He's the best I've seen so far. All cards are ass. God damn, Leo. The best part about her is getting green support for other types. I don't even think so, J2. I don't even think she gives support to other leaders because all her stuff's conditional. All of her cards say if you have 2 rested characters, which is so like bricky. The giving at 2k is strong. The 2 Dawn open, I don't know how much that matters because remember like green purple Dofi and OP04? There were a lot of turns where like, because he restood 2 for free every single turn. And there were a lot of turns where if you just didn't have a 0 cost, if you didn't have a 2 cost event, it didn't do anything. Swing them drop. Well, yeah, I mean, there's ways to turn it on, but literally it makes it so that like, if there's no playing a character and swinging it the same turn unless it has rush to even try to turn these on. Like think about the card pool already, all the good cards that already exist. Are you gonna jump through hoops to try to resolve these effects? You have all these cards that are unconditional. They just already do things by default. Like, if I'm playing Red Green Law, I'm not going to go out of my way to play a card that only gets an effect if I have 2 rested characters, when there's already cards like 5/6 Blocker Law, which comes out and bounces a card immediately and then plays another card. We have Portgas DA, green character, 5 cost, 5,000 power, special, Odyssey, Whitebeard Pirates, he's a 2k, so that's good. On play, if you have 2 or more rested characters in play, rest up to one of your opponents, cost 5 or lower characters. So this is basically the Luffy from earlier, but it's a 2k, is that the only difference? So far, she hasn't shown me a single card that you would want to play outside of her. That's the problem I'm having with her so far. So far, there's not been a single green card she has given green that you would play outside of Lim. Everything has been, it's basically, it's like soft leader locked. Because it's like, it is generic, you can play it in anything, but realistically, why would you? This is a 2k, it rests something, it's fine. It's nothing crazy, nothing to write home about. This also isn't the kind of effect, this isn't the kind of, because look at it like this too, this isn't the kind of effect that you would want to attach a condition to. Like this effect, this is not an effect so strong that you have to lock it behind having 2 rested characters. Spend 5 Dawn to tap a 5, that should just happen. There should be no condition on that. Like, let's be real. It's a fine effect, I guess, because it's a 2k, but if it were on a 2k, this effect would be fucking awful. Spend 5 to rest 5 is terrible. All with the condition. I like Lim. I think in a vacuum she's good, but the game is so power creep right now. She doesn't. No, I don't think this would have been good even 3 sets ago. Like you have to think in OP05 we were playing Sakazuki and El Purple Luffy. They would have fucked Lim up. That was 3 sets ago. This comes out in this is OP09. 4 sets ago. Decks from 4 sets ago would have been fucking Lim up. Sakazuki, green character, 6 cost, 7,000 power, special. Odyssey, Navy, no counter. So we have Isho support, I guess. We have a green Navy card. On play, if you have 2 or more rested characters in play, KO up to one of your opponents cost 5 or lower characters. I like this. This is a good card. This is a good card. This is 6 Dawn. This is 6 Dawn to pop a 5. This is really good. Like on curve. I think the only problem though is that like with Lim, would you drop it on curve? Because if you did, then you're giving up leader ability for the turn. Sokka would have, yes, but I'm saying in a vacuum, she would be fine. Her cards aren't terrible. Well, her cards are pretty terrible, Zero. But the issue is that the game is too insane. No, the problem isn't even the game. I think the problem is like her cards are just inherently weak. All her cards have a condition. So her leader ability is ramping, but the penalty is she has to give up board to do it. So all the cards come out tapped, which makes them, and like, you have to think in general, removal in One Piece has been good in yellow, red, black. Green has always had the worst removal because cards had to be tapped. Lim even has to struggle into green removal. because she fulfills the tap condition for them for free. I don't think any package currently saves this deck, TBH. Tried looking at a Dofi package or Supernova, but nah. Yeah, I can't think of one. Japanese players already said that these cards are weak. Yeah, I don't know how they could be good. Every single card that does something so far, besides the Sakazuki, has had a condition. This Sakazuki is like, and the Adio. This is a good card. This is... Oh, he does have the condition. Oh my, he has the condition, so you couldn't even do it on curve. Oh my god. I mean, you could if your opponent lets you. Because if you're going on 6, that means your opponent has had the 5 Dawn turn and the 3 Dawn turn. So your opponent has already had 2 turns to fight for board to take characters from you. And another thing too is like, this is a good card, but then again, because he's a 6 cost, you can't even cheat him off leader ability. So you have to hard play him, which means that you have to give up leader ability for the turn, or you literally can't play this and leader until you're on 9 Dawn. Donquixote, Doflamingo, green character, 5 cost, 6,000 power, special, Odyssey, 7 warlords, Donquixote pirates, 1,000 counter. Blocker, end of your turn. If you have 2 or more rested characters in play, set this character as active. Like, this is the problem with this leader. Just for her to have a blocker, she has to have a condition. And it's a blocker that you can't even have live as early as turn 3. Because, like, you're realistically not fulfilling this condition. So, you cheat him out. Let's say you cheat him out on turn 2. He's your only character, right? So the condition isn't met. And then also, this is assuming your opponent even lets you keep characters. Like, if you play into decks that remove... If they remove so much as 1 character, this condition's already not being met. So this is a blocker that isn't good until like turn 4 if the condition's being met then. Like a deck like, say you play in a Luffy, for example, and they take your board. This is never resolving its effect. It's a blocker that would never be a blocker. It's a blocker that would never have an effect. It would just be a 5/6 that comes out tapped. I think like if you're gonna do this condition, this is probably one of the best things you can do for her, but like this is not it. You can play Sokka on turn 5 though. Well, I'm not gonna you can play anything on turn 5. On turn 5, you have 10 Dawn. Like, I already acknowledged that you could do it on turn 5. Because I said you'd have to be on 9 Dawn. And here's the problem with it though, Phoenix. Being able to pop something on turn 5 is bad because his thing is saying he's popping a 5 cost character. He's popping a 5 cost character in Lim. Lim's green purple, so she doesn't have cost reduction. So that means the most this is popping is a 5. By the time that he can pop something, if you're dropping this on turn 5, that means your opponent's on 9 Dawn at minimum. That means your opponent is able to start playing 9 cost characters by the time he can come out and pop a 5. It's too slow. In any other deck, he's a swinging blocker, yeah. Yeah, but would you even play that? Because you know what this would mean? In any other deck, a 5/6 blocker, this is competing with like Green Law, for example. Because this doesn't have an effect, really. He's like competing with like Green Law, who doesn't even see play in every deck, and he has a really good effect. Blue-green Sanji support. Opponent was at 4 Dawn. If your opponent is on 4 Dawn on turn 2, so that means so you have no character turn 1. Turn 2, you cheat out a character. Your opponent goes, because your entire win con is having 2 characters on board, so your opponent will happily give up their first swinging turn, put 4 Dawn on leader, swing 9 at your tapped character, and kill it. So now you are on your 3rd turn. You have no character on board. You can cheat out this vanilla that comes out tapped that has no effect. How's the review going so far? You fuck with the new... No FM. Her conditions are just too rough to complete. Yeah, no, I agree with that. The Dofi and green purple Dofi though, with the restand Diamante, I guess it's something. That's the problem though too. It's like, literally the saving grace is looking at her and leaders like green purple Dofi, and green purple Dofi hasn't done anything since OP04. He hasn't done anything in 4 sets. So... Green Purple Dofi isn't being saved by a card like this. Next we have Sanji, 5 cost, 6,000 power, Odyssey, Straw Hat Crew. 1,000 counter, on KO, you may put the top or bottom card of your life into your hand. Oh god. Play up to 1 cost 4 or lower character with the Odyssey or Straw Hat Crew type from trash into play as rusted. This is good. This is a good card. This is a good card. This is a good card. Green Purple is actually a curse. I didn't even think about that either, because it's like, her being green purple, she'd be competing with Dofi, and he hasn't done anything since OP04. And I think his cards are better. I think the green purple film engine's better than this. And see, here's the thing though. Here's the problem with this card. I'll tell you what the problem with this is. The reason this is good in Lim is because as you're falling behind, he lets you try to maintain advantage. Like in every other deck, the good cards are good because they generate advantage, or you go further ahead and you get further ahead of your opponent. Lim's strongest card so far is a card that lets her try to stay in the game. Like you know, like, what's that saying? Play to win, don't play to not lose. Sanji is playing to not lose. He's not playing to win, he's playing to keep you in the game. So it's like, while he is a good card, like, he's only like, he's very flawed. Because, and it's not even his fault, it's this leader. They have to be extra cautious with green purple so they make the leaders bad. I don't think they do. I don't think they do, because purple's whole identity realistically is ramping, and purple and green has some of the weakest top end in the game. Like, I think green purple's a color combination that you should try to overtune even. Because green is such a weak color and purple is such a weak color. Like, you have to think about like for green to see play again since OP04, they had to print Bonnie, and Bonnie's whole thing, the game's too fast for green. So Bonnie has to try to slow the opponent down so that she can keep up. And it's why Bonnie's like the 5th or 6th best deck. That Sanji could be nice with the film package. Sanji gets the 4-cost Brook into a Nami for search. I don't know. So, okay, let's think. So realistically, when it means he came out and he did nothing the turn he came out, and then next turn after you swung with him, if he survived. So I guess even if he doesn't survive, so he has to float into the Brook to then float into the Nami, and you have to have a Dawn open already to get the search off the Nami. You also have to have the Nami in hand. There's like, I guess there's something that is physically possible that can be done with him, but it's kind of like a stretch. Green purple can ramp and restand. Restanding isn't that strong though. The strongest green card that we have the strongest green card we have seen that restands is Zoro, and he restands himself. Outside of him, every other green restand card has been kind of mid. The best has been like, well, like Starter Law maybe, and that was because he could burst, and that was only because red green Law could cheat him out for 2 Dawn. Because outside of him, it's what? Diamante? Diamante is a cool card, but you have to think, even in Green Purple Dofi's prime, the best performing Green Purple Dofi list didn't even play him. They played the film engine. Like, restanding is not as strong as you're making it out to be. Isho's entire effect was restanding a 5 at the end of every turn, and he did nothing. Turn 1, 1 Dawn play, 1 cost, now your opponent has to remove it or become what do you mean they have to remove it? They're going to remove it. Literally, if my opponent plays a card for 1 Dawn and it comes out tapped, my whole thing isn't, oh no, I have to kill it. It's cool, I can kill it because now I can starve. If I would rather kill something on the board than attack my opponent and give them another card to play the game with. Starving is so powerful. Enel is like 4th best deck in the meta, and he literally does not even attack you. He only goes for board. Perona only goes for board. Something becoming a blocker isn't good. Your opponent wants to fight for board. Your opponent does not want to give you cards. Restanding Dawn. Restanding Dawn's not that great. Restanding Dawn is strong in red-green Law. Bonnie, literally the only reason Bonnie makes use of restanding Dawn is because her leader ability cost 1 Dawn on the opponent's turn. Outside of that, it's not that great. Green Purple Dofi is a leader that restands 2 Dawn for free at the end of every turn, and he's doing nothing. Like, the best Green Purple Dofi has going for him is Birdcage Dofi, and that's a local stack. That deck has done nothing on a competitive level. Actually, so like you play Sanji, opponent's turn, they swing at Sanji, and you can let it die using effect to play Brook and Nami. You get 2 rested bodies to then use for other conditions, needing 2 rested characters. Nami is a searcher that only looks 3 deep. Because Nami only looks 3 deep, that means you have to be playing somewhere in the ballpark of 26 plus film characters for her to not whiff consistently. At this point, why would we just play Green Purple Dofi and not have our film cards come out rested? Then again, I guess you're not making the argument that like it's being played in limb, just in general. You play your character turn 1, your opponent takes the 2 Dawn turn, you have your 3 Dawn turn, you finally use leader ability, you cheat out a character. So I guess at that point you could argue you have 2 characters, assuming you're even running a what 1-cost character would you be playing? What are good green 1-cost characters? Somebody give me a good 1-cost character that is green. The only one I can think of is Bonnie's Searcher and Donquixote Searcher, and you literally cannot even make great use of them because they have to come out tapped. Like, let's say you go turn 1, you bring out your character, comes out rested, right? Your opponent takes 2 Dawn, they can't beat over your guy because they can't swing turn 1. On your 3 Dawn turn, you can't even search, because if you search, you now don't have enough Dawn for leader ability. Like, tell me we all are grasping why this is a problem, right? Well, a 1-cost blocker maybe? Because here's the problem with that then, right? All right, so I figured that's where we were gonna go, right? Beige comes out, he's rested, opponent takes 2 Dawn, they can't attack. My next turn, I have Beige blocker. He's an active character. He is literally an active character, so he doesn't help me fulfill my condition of having 2 rested characters on the board. The only way he's fulfilling that condition is if I swing with him to turn him sideways. And if at that point, then why am I playing Beige blocker? Like, that is really, you don't play a blocker with the intent of swinging with it to turn it sideways. And that's only if you even get it turn 1. If you see outside of turn 1, it's a block. It's not, for the rest of the game, it's just a 1k counter because it's never going to block anything. So it's terrible on your turn 1 play, and then it's terrible every turn after that. Like, there are no good 1-drop green cards for this leader to play. She's bad, guys. That's all there is to it. All right, well, there's still a lot more cards. Let's keep looking. We have Crocodile, green character, 4 cost, 5,000 power. Odyssey, 7 warlords, 1,000 counter. If your leader has the Odyssey type, this character cannot be KO'd in battle by leaders. By leaders? Oh my... What the... Oh... Would it have been too powerful to make it that he could be KO'd by characters or leaders? Like, he could still be popped. He could still be bottom deck. He could still be put in life. He could still be... Like, there are a lot of cards. Like, you have to... Vegapunk has a card that can't be KO'd once you're at 2 life, which is the entire game because you start off at 2. Why does he have this condition of leaders only? He doubles as a blocker or a way to activate leader ability. It's not good, but it's a play. All right, but you know what else is a play? Playing like the Conjuro card that like pops a tapped 2 cost and my opponent beats over it. I discard a card, right? Like every deck has bad plays. You play beige blocker to protect the 6k you cheated out if they decide to swing 9k at it. So Phoenix, I don't know if you remember. So the reason we first brought up the discussion of running a 1-cost green character is to have more tapped characters to fulfill tap conditions. So if we're giving up beige blocker as a blocker, then that defeats the entire, like the whole reason we even brought up 1-cost characters. I think realistically you just play Film Odyssey package. My opinion is I feel like the Odyssey package is a detriment to the film package. I think nothing about this package makes the film engine better. The best card we've seen for film so far is Sanji. I think film is better off without any of these cards that we've seen so far. All right, so let's keep reading cards then. What about the Wano Momo, my samurai engine? It would be terrible in here because it wants to tap your characters to get the draw. And with Lim, all the cards are coming out tapped by default. So you literally can't even tap anything unless it survives. And that's a samurai that's way too slow. As someone that was maining Perona this entire time, samurai having to use an entire turn late is way too slow. And then the thing about it too is like, that's giving your opponent an entire turn to even take 2 characters off the board. And that also means that it's an entire extra turn where now you have to decide between whether or not you can swing with the character or you tap it for samurai. Because your opponent's fighting for your board, if they reduce you to 2 characters, you can't even swing on the following turn if you're gonna tap both with samurai. Back to the Sanji thing, instead of playing Nami off Brook, play Buena Fiesta Searcher. Bruh. Playing a different leader is also a potential play. That is true. That is true, J2. There's also a Dofi Fam Odyssey combo. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, so we've already established that this Croc is not good. This Croc would have been good if he said leaders or characters. They unnecessarily nerfed him for no reason. He's already leader locked. Like, here's the problem with this, chat. He's leader locked. How come he says he can't be KO'd by leaders? And then meanwhile, a card like Kuros, back in OP09 is protected by both leader and stage. Kuros is fucking indestructible, basically. He can't be KO'd by characters, card effects, leaders, and then Croc says this, and he cost 1 more. Like, Samurai's fine in a lot of decks. Lim is probably the worst deck you could put it in. Lim would probably be the worst deck you could ever put that card in. All right, so moving on from Croc, we have Law, green character, 3 cost, 4,000 power, slash, Odyssey, Supernova, Heart Pirates, 1,000 counter, on play, you may return 1 of your characters to your hand. Play up to 1 cost 3 or lower Odyssey type character other than Law from your hand. What kind of plays is this card trying to facilitate? I'm not gonna immediately count this card out because my first impression is I'm not a fan, because this is like a worse 2 cost film Law, and even he doesn't see playing a lot of film decks. Like, even Utas dropped him, and he looks like a worse version of that. What potential plays could we make with this card? They actually heart through on the Croc. Yeah, bro, they did. That Croc's so bad. Red Green Law running Odyssey is what it wants. Red Green Law choosing to be bad. Just next card is what it combos. Okay, so we'll look at next card. Lim, 3 cost, 5,000 power, Odyssey. On play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 card with the Odyssey type and put it in your hand, then place the rest at the bottom of the deck in any order. So we have a searcher, end of your turn. If you have 3 or more rested characters in play, set this character as active. I like this card. I like it. I'm a fan of this card. This is a good card. This is a card that you can cheat out very early in the game. It immediately replaces itself if it does die, and it even has potential to high roll and restand. So, okay, so with the Law, you would go... So you'd bounce back a character, and then you play Lim. What does that do, though? Conceding? Like, why would playing this card ever be better than just playing Lim? Like, wouldn't you rather just play Lim and have a better card in your hand than this Law? What purple cards would you play in this? Bro, I have no idea. Because the thing is, this is so hyper specific that it doesn't synergize with anything else. Like, there's no purple archetype that can lean into this. There's no green archetype that can lean into this. This package serves strictly as a way to make the film engine worse. You can go Fiesta into Law. Fiesta, play Law. Oh wait, no. So all right. So are we still coping on playing this with film? Is that what this is? Because you could play Fiesta, search a card, play Law, bounce the Fiesta back, play Lim, search a card. That is 2 searches, but also that does mean we're playing the film engine, and the film engine. If we're playing Search or Nami, we're playing at minimum 26 film cards so that she doesn't whiff. So we only have 24 spaces left in our deck to play Odyssey. We have to play at minimum 18 cards so that Lim doesn't whiff. This is also 2 engines that don't synergize with each other, so they're bottom decking each other's shit. Because you have to look at double searchers, like in like decks that have played double searcher up to this point. The first one was Red Green Law. So once we got the Dan, the 2 searchers hit the same shit, so it didn't matter. They didn't bottom deck things for the most part. But then we didn't get a double searcher until Green Purple Dofi, but they both search film, so you didn't bottom deck your shit. And then we got a double searcher with Sakazuki, but they both search Navy, so you didn't bottom deck your shit. There was double searcher in Ace, and that was actually one of Ace's biggest problems because his double searchers repeatedly bottom decked the wrong stuff. Portia and Mr. 2. Mr. 2's not even a searcher. All right, next up we have Sabo, green character, 5 cost, 6,000 power, Odyssey, Rev, Army, 1,000 counter. When attacking once per turn, if you have 3 or more rested characters in play, draw 1 card. 3 or more, oh my, when attack, oh my. I thought this card was good for a second. Bro, I somehow didn't register the when attacking. I just saw the once per turn and the draw one. I was like, oh, this is a good card. Then I realized it was 3, and then I realized it's the when attacking. This card's terrible. This card is so bad. Literally, so here, my problem with this Law is, like, look at film Law, and look at the fact that film Law literally cheats a Dawn. He does not see play anymore. This card breaks even, and it costs more. And it's for a bad archetype. Moving on from Sabo, we have Robin, 4 cost, 500 power, chat. 5,000 power. Odyssey, Straw Hat Crew, 1,000 counter. On play, if you have 2 or more rested characters in play until the end of your opponent's next turn, all your characters with Odyssey or Straw Hat Crew type can't be KO'd by effects. I like this. This is a good card. It's kind of expensive, but so this is probably like a good card to cheat. It's so unfortunate because like this is a good target to cheat off Lim to potentially protect your other characters, but she's only 5,000. So the minute your opponent starts swinging her, you have to start dropping cards from your hand. Lim makes it so easy for your opponent to starve you. Everybody wants to starve, and Lim literally just enables it. She literally says, starve me. Pretty much, you cheat this Perona, this Robin out, it comes out sideways, and your opponent throws leader into it, you're dropping a card from your hand, and your opponent just keeps poking into it and eating your hand alive. It's like, it's a good effect, but the leader kills it. The leader kills this card. I think she's too small to be coming out tapped. Just wait, the events get worse? Really? Next card we have, we're at the events. Gum Gum, Quattro, Mono, Jet, Cross, Shock, Bazooka. Holy shit, that's a name. Gum Gum, Quattro, Mana, Jet, Cross, Shock, Bazooka. Odyssey, Straw Hat Crew. All right, so we have an event. It's searchable off Nami. This is potentially Red Green Law support. If your leader has, no, it's not. The Odyssey type, and you have 2 or more rested characters in play, up to one of your leader characters gains 2,000 power for this turn. Trigger K up to one of your opponent's rested cost 4 lower characters. Gaining 2K is kind of big. It's conditional, which kind of sucks, but I mean, I guess this does nothing in the early game. It does pump near the late game. I don't think it helps with Lim's problem though. Lim's problem is kind of like the Sanji. She's not playing to win, she's playing to survive. This card is playing to survive. I think when you print a leader this bad, they could have just made it just pump 2K for the turn. That's because that would be strong. That card would be fucking insane. A card that's 1 cost pump 2K for the rest of the turn. That card would be fucking insane. But if it's leader locked to Lim, I don't think it matters. Because Lim needs all the help she can get. I don't think it should have been leader. I don't think it should have been locked to a condition. Conditional 2K counter for a 1 Dawn. Just bring a 2K counter. That's what I said at first too, Austin, but this is for the entire turn. Lim again would be good if she didn't have they come out tapped. Yeah. I think they overbalanced her. Thunder Lance, Flip, Pound, Phoenix Shot, 3 cost, Green Event, Odyssey, Straw Hat Crew. Main, if you have 2 or more rested characters in play, keep up to one of your opponent's cost 4 or lower characters. my God, this leader's so bad. If this leader does anything, I will be genuinely impressed. I will eat my words. I don't think she will. She has a 3-cost event that has a condition on it to go 3 to pop a 4. Why? I just don't get it. At least make it to where if they come into play rested, that they get 2k boost when they're active. They lose like her needing 2. She is literally giving your opponent all of the agency to fight for your board to turn off all of your character abilities. And that makes her so slow and so bad. Because if you play into a deck that just skips battle altogether like Luffy, just pops your shit, none of your cards do fucking anything. None of your cards do anything, so you're back to trying to rebuild a board, but your board keeps coming out tapped. So then, because there are some decks where, like, you're playing a Luffy, for example, he pops your board. So then you build another board on the next turn, and you put him on having the removal to pop again. And if they don't have, like, another Luffy, then it's like, cool, I'm fine. I'm actually going to get a board next turn. Lim says, like, you had the Luffy, you took my board this turn, and then my new board's going to come out sideways, so you don't even need to pop it again. You just beat over. It's so bad. Event art goes crazy. Bro, I actually like the event arts. I like how ghetto they are. This YouTube video is gonna be so depressing. TBH, does the opponent even need to fight for board? But why wouldn't you, right? Because fighting for board's already the better thing to do anyway, because you get to starve the opponent. Lim's literally, she's handing it over to you on a silver platter. She's going, here, fight for my board, just do it. Free face swings though. Face swings is bad though. All you're doing is letting her keep board and you're giving her cards. Once we got to like OP09 and people got really good at the game, people realized starve is the optimal way to play this game. Yeah, all right, so that's it then. This leader's ass. This leader is so bad. This leader is so bad. What you gonna do, play a blocker? J2, I think you're overestimating face play. If you just swinging into your opponent's face is bad. That's playing the game wrong. That's playing the game bad. All you're doing is giving your opponent more resources by going into their face. If you literally just play starve, you guarantee you win the game. Why turn it into a 50-50? Why gamble it? Why give your opponent the, why go into Lim, swing into her face, give her more cards, leave her characters on the board, and now all of a sudden she's resolving card effects? Why give her the ability to even try to do that? All of a sudden, a game that you could have won with no pushback whatsoever is a game you've turned into. Now I'm banking on my opponent not resolving effects that could potentially swing the game. No, I get that. All right, bro. Just saying, because it doesn't sound like it. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say I don't think Lim is it. I think Lim's really, really bad. I think Lim is really, I think she's one of the worst leaders we've had in a really long time. Well, at least get rammed for free. The juice isn't worth the squeeze. But Starve implies she has anything worth playing. Well, I don't know if you, so J2, remember, a lot of her cards are bad because they're conditional. The reason her cards are bad is because they're all conditional and they may not resolve any effects because your opponent is able to fight for your board. Because basically all you're doing is you're making sure all her cards are coming out active. If all her cards were coming out active, they wouldn't be terrible. By you not playing Starve and you going in her face, you are turning all of her cards on, and you're now taking all her cards that are ass and turning them into decent cards. You have made the cards, you have removed what makes them ass. Play out a 5-cost 6k on 3, your opponent isn't gonna swing up at least. No, you would. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you, Oscar? Why wouldn't you? What would you rather be doing than loading up leader and taking off the card that turns on your opponent's entire win condition? There's no better play than that. That is literally the best play you could be making. She's garbage, but I will still play her. All right, Ludi Loco. That's all that matters. So you just need one board rest and bring out another card and it's live. No. Your opponent is going to go, you go 3, you cheat her out. Your opponent is going to go 9k swing to pull 2 cards. Why wouldn't your opponent take the opportunity to either turn off your win condition or pull 2 cards out of your hand? There's no reason that they would not do that. That is the better play. If you're playing it, so here's how I'm gonna look at it. If you're playing against anyone good, they're going to do it. If you're playing against anyone bad, they won't do it, and maybe you'll win, but who cares because you're beating bad players. She's gonna have to counter to survive. Literally, you forced her into dropping 2 up, and that's if she has 2 2Ks. If she has 1 2K and 2 1Ks, she's dropping 2 to 3 cards just to try to keep her win condition on board. Just to start having leader ability, card effects. Any good player is going to choose to do that for their turn 2 play. Who you taking in a fight? Iceberg versus Lim? Bro, Iceberg would fuck Lim up. It wouldn't even be close. I think Iceberg would generally just destroy Lim. I don't think it'd even be close. Lim versus NL is 2 decks that don't do anything, but one is doing nothing successfully. All right, yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for this one. I don't think Lim is it. If she ends up being good, I was wrong. It's as simple as that. Who cares? But until next time, I will see you guys.